Did you know that China's entire economy is collapsing? It seems unreal that China's entire economy is collapsing. You probably must have heard a lot in recent times that China is the next big thing. Well, sorry to burst your bubble, but a lot has changed in the past few months. China is not the superpower it once was. Today, we'll be talking about China and the fact that its entire economy is collapsing. You'll be surprised to find out that China isn't that economic powerhouse everyone perceives it to be. The actual story is quite the opposite. This begs the question, how is China's entire economy collapsing? Well, stick around to the end as we answer this question and more as we delve into the details surrounding the collapse. Without further ado, let us begin. I'm sure you must be thinking that you are being clickbaited into watching this video, and it's completely understandable as China is largely considered to be a force that would soon be the most powerful in the world, the rate at which it is growing. However, I invite you all to do a simple Google search. You'll find lots of videos and articles on the issue. This begs the question, what is the issue? Well, don't worry folks, as we will dissect the matter into fine parts and explain every bit, making sure that after you're done with this video, you will be perfectly informed about the Chinese economic crisis. First of all, let us talk about the Chinese demographic. As you all know, it is the most populous country in the world, with a population of nearly 1.4 billion people. That's like 18% of the whole world. It is quite insane the number of people in the country. China has tried to limit its growth with its infamous one-child policy, but it resulted in an unforeseen issue. In the end, there were more elderly people compared to babies. Hence, the labor force weakened as there were fewer able-bodied people, and a large number of elderly further burdened the economy. So, is this the reason for the Chinese economic collapse? No, as China has already rectified the situation by abolishing the one-child rule. But this was not the only effect the high population had. It also caused an increase in demand for housing. As I said previously, there are a lot of elderly in the country, and thus adequate housing was a must for many people. However, the prime reason for this high demand for housing, or owning your own place, was mainly down to the traditions and mentality there. Take the USA or any other country, for example. People prefer to opt for both rentals and your own place. Some people prefer to take a loan and pay the house off in interest payments later on, and others don't want to give away interest and opt for rental payments. At the end of the day, it's just a house, and you get it either way. In China, however, it's completely different. Here, owning your own place is so important that people forego practicality over it. To the Chinese, it is so important to own your house as if someone would die if they rent a place. The thought of letting someone know that life in their own place is satisfying to the Chinese. Yes, it's a little unconventional way of thinking, but in the end, it's their decision. So that being said, you can imagine with such a high population, there are bound to be more families than houses available in their people. Hence, the demand for new houses or apartments is quite high. Now, the construction and real estate companies know this, and thus charge a lot of money for these projects. Speaking of which, did you know that the real estate industry in China is worth a whopping $4 trillion? Can you imagine that? This is all due to the massive demand China has for real estate and another factor that I will soon talk about. Now, here is where the real issue begins. These companies know people will throw a lot of money all over the country for proper places to live. Hence, they start a lot of projects all over the country. For these projects, they ask for money from the people, a system which is followed all over the world. They use this money to build the structure a little more and then ask for more. However, rather than completing the building, they abandon it, citing a lack of funds, and pocket the money to start projects elsewhere in the country. You'll see a lot of abandoned buildings and houses that are left semi-constructed due to this issue. As you can see, this is a clear-cut Ponzi scheme used to take unfair and unlawful advantage of the demand in the country. Rather than utilizing the demand in a legal manner, which would be profitable considering the demand, people still opt for unlawful practices. Just for greed, a little more cash, they are willing to destroy the many lives of Chinese that are throwing away money just for a place of living that they will never get. We've highlighted the issues with China. But we still have not addressed its connection with the economic collapse China has recently suffered. The real estate industry was using this Ponzi scheme for years, and the public couldn't do anything about it. If you were to ask anyone in China about this issue, they will most probably rant about it for minutes. Such is the frustration of the public. Don't get me wrong, people did get their places to live, but that was after years of construction after the real estate companies had found adequate profits on their expenses. Moreover, sometimes a company would just declare bankruptcy after taking all of the public's money. So, what would the people do now? Well, here is where the government intervenes. Normally, in such scenarios, rather than starting an investigation into this Ponzi scheme and ending it once and for all, the government opts for a bailout package designed to help finish construction. This not only fails to tackle the real estate Ponzi scheme that is so rampant in the country, but also encourages it, as companies know that they will be covered with the help of the government. It is ludicrous if you ask me. I don't know why such a scheme can last for so long in an advanced country like China. Now, let us examine real-life examples. The Evergrande Group experienced a similar event. They had a lot of debt and had taken a lot of money from the general populace. After admitting that they couldn't fulfill their financial obligations, they realized that they had taken on too much. This caused the company's share price to decline, which forced the business to incur significant losses. Evergrande is hardly the only business with unpaid invoices. More than 60 Chinese real estate companies owe more than $13 billion in payments, according to numerous estimates. The worst part is that it appears that the majority of them won't be able to repay them. They either requested a payment extension or filed for bankruptcy and are depending on the government to bail them out. So this begs the question, how did such a scheme that has been going on for quite a while suddenly become so apparent and harmful to China's economy? Well, it all occurred due to the pandemic. When people were forced to stay inside homes, the demand for their own living grew even more. Previously, the delays were bearable, as people were either busy with their lives or just waiting in silent frustration. However, during the pandemic, when in times of panic and fear, we all seek the comfort of our homes, and that comfort was being taken by the real estate industry. So what did people do? Protest, of course. Soon, the streets were full of people protesting their right to the place they had paid for. As a result, civil unrest ensued, and henceforth had to be taken by the Chinese enforcement to control the mob. However, before they could do so, the damage had been done, as the economy fell even further. You must be wondering why exactly the economy fell as a result of this. It was due to the confusion and lack of consumer confidence. People were becoming increasingly confused and bewildered due to the unrest and uncertainty of the whole situation, as they did not know what to do. By this I mean they did not know what to buy, where to invest, etc., as there was so much tension as to where the economy is headed. That is not the whole story, as consumer confidence can literally shatter governments. Having high consumer confidence results in more people being comfortable in buying something, taking a loan, or lending some money, as they know the economy is under control and measures are constantly being taken to control the economy. People would freely buy the things they want, would invest where they think the price would increase and they could make a profit, etc. All in all, there is a lot of cash flow in the country, which really helps the government. This all can be done when there is adequate consumer confidence. China had lost this consumer confidence. People were not investing and buying more often. Due to the housing Ponzi scam, people had lost interest in many projects, thinking that this might also be a scam. This has resulted in the economic slowdown of its economy, to such an extent that many developing countries are progressing at a much faster rate compared to China. And we're talking about an economy that transformed from a really small economy to an economic powerhouse in a matter of months. Such a rapid ascension and yet an equally rapid fall. This drop in consumer confidence also resulted in broken banking. Now, as you know, banks have a certain amount of reserve money that can be used in emergencies when a group of people extracts a lot of money. As people started losing more and more money, they started to take out their money from the bank, as they did not want to risk losing it too. As a result, a lot of banks also went bankrupt. So you must be thinking, is the government doing anything to rectify the situation? Well, their main issue lies in the whole real estate industry. But most importantly, right now, weak consumer confidence can really be disastrous in the long run. So they lowered the interest rate. And by lower, I mean really low. This was mostly done to aid and promote the lending of money, which would increase cash flow and hence help the economy react to this shock. In the end, I would just like to say that the problem does not necessarily mean consumer confidence. It all starts with the real estate sector. This Ponzi scheme needs to be addressed as soon as possible. Maybe if he had understood it sooner, we might have done something about it. But alas, we are stuck with China and a struggling economy. We can only pray they finally get back on track. I hope that answers your questions regarding everything there is to know regarding China's entire economic situation. I think we've covered everything, but if you have any more questions in mind, do let us know in the comments down below. We value the feedback of our esteemed subscribers, so do not hesitate to do so. That's it for the video. I hope you liked and enjoyed the video. Please let me know by pressing the like button, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for future notifications. Till then, take care of yourself, and I'll see you guys in the next one.